Okay. Good evening, and welcome to the Candidates Forum presented and produced by the League of Women Voters of Northwest Wayne County. My name is Susan Rowe, and I'm a member of the Northwest Wayne County League and also the moderator for this event. Tonight, we welcome 7 of the 9 candidates running for 4 seats on the Plymouth City Commission. The top 8 vote getters in the August 5th primary will advance to the November 5th election. All qualified candidates were invited to the forum. However, 2 of the candidates are unable to participate due to scheduling conflicts. They are Christine McHale Johnson and Elena McGuire. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization. We do not support or oppose any candidate running for office. The League does not take positions on any issues, but after careful study, you may see our name attached to an issue that we are advocating for or opposing. The League of Women Voters is where hands-on work to safeguard democracy leads to civic improvement. Membership is open to anyone who is at least 16 years old and can join through our website. The League's main mission is to promote political responsibility through informed and active participation in government, and one of the ways we do that is by having forums such as this one tonight. The League also provides a nonpartisan voter guide, which is found online at www.vote411.org. We have received many questions from the audience tonight, and some were received in advance of the forum. Questions are screened for clarity, and those which include personal attacks on a candidate will be eliminated. We will ask as many questions as time permits. All the candidates have agreed to the format for tonight's forum, which is as follows. Each candidate will be allowed a 1-minute opening statement, a 1-minute response to all questions, and a 1-minute closing statement. Before the candidates were seated, they chose a random number to determine their order of seating. We will rotate the order of the candidate who responds to a question or statement first. League President Carrie Moon Dupree is our timekeeper. She will be holding up cards, as she stated earlier, so the candidates know when their time is up. And I do ask that you follow her sign. When she says stop, please stop. The candidate must stop when the stop sign appears. And we will begin with Ms. Kehoe for an opening statement.
Thank you to the League of Women Voters, and thank you to everyone here tonight for taking the time to be part of this important conversation. I'm Jennifer Kehoe, and I've lived in Plymouth for about 25 years. I moved to Michigan from Portland, Oregon, to attend graduate school at the University of Michigan, where I earned master's degrees in public health and toxicology. I ended up in Plymouth, thanks to my husband, who grew up here, and when I first visited, I felt like I had wandered into a storybook town. I knew right away that it was where I wanted to build a life. Professionally, I've worked in scientific research and teaching, and I currently serve as a city commissioner. Before that, I spent over 7 years on the Planning and Brownfield Commissions, working to manage the scale of new development and improve walkability. I care deeply about Plymouth's future, and I want to make sure that we have smart growth that balances the needs of the future and our rich history. I care deeply about Plymouth and be honored to continue serving our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Picard?
Hi, my name is Ron Picard. I grew up straight down Ann Arbor Trail in Westland. We always went to the Plymouth, to Penn. I'm 4th of 9 kids, so we went to the dollar movies at Penn. When I married my wife in 2010, I became a Plymouth resident. But all my life, I've just gotten involved. Starting in high school, I don't remember why, but I ended up being our church's girls' basketball coach. And just ever since then, I've been on different boards, either for churches or for neighborhood groups or for community groups, community choirs, and it's just always been part of who I am. So when I got to Plymouth, it's the same thing. I didn't start right away with Plymouth, but it was the Kellogg Park redesign that kind of tweaked my interest and thought, you know what, this is where I need to be. But I think the thing I'm most proud of is 4th of 9 kids. I was the executor of my parents' will and did that with satisfying everybody. I can work with anybody. So that's me.
Thank you. Mr. Mulhern.
Thank you, Ms. Rowe, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for putting this on. I'm Jim Mulhern. I've lived 30 years at Arthur and Blanche, 2 kids, 2 pugs, who you may have seen me walking. I work at Henry Ford Health, and I'm a small business owner. I volunteered on the Planning Commission for 8 years, the last 4 as chair. I was offered an appointment to City Commission after finishing with Planning Commission, but I turned it down because of work and family. I've been asked this time by friends and neighbors to run. With a good conscience, I can commit to that now. Plymouth is a great place. It's a destination now for Fall Festival, music in the park, Old Village Car Show, bumpers, bikes, and bands. It's a place people that in neighboring cities dream about living in. We as a community have done a great job in creating this place. I want to build upon that and use my experience and my listening skills as someone you trust as your commissioner. That's why I'm here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, everyone, silence your cell phones. Mr. Silvers.
Thank you. So good to see everybody here. My name is Scott Silvers. I've been living in Plymouth, enjoying every minute for the last 23 years or so. And for the last 10 years, I've been on the Planning Commission, putting Plymouth first. And I'm also an architect, so I bring a unique angle to things, so to say. And I really like looking at how Plymouth can move into the future from that perspective. And my tenure ended at the end of last year, so I thought this would be the perfect way for me to continue to serve the citizens of Plymouth.
Okay. Mrs. Sisolak.
Thank you. Karen Sisolak, hi, everybody. I'm glad to see the faces in the crowd that I'm familiar with. It makes me feel a lot more comfortable up here. Just a little background. My husband and I moved to Plymouth in 1998 with our sons that were at the time 1, 3, and 5. I was working full-time at the time at Ford, who hired me after I graduated with an industrial engineering degree at Penn State way back in '85. I have a 25-year career, also did a master's at U of M Dearborn, and took some time off at different times with my children, but then retired in 2018 or 19, I believe. So I have time to give back to the community, and after being on the Planning Commission for 8 years, 6 of them were chair. I have more time to give, and I really want to focus on giving back to the community. And when I say giving back to the community, I want to make sure that I don't want to give back to the city. I see us as a community. I want to get us more focused again on community, not so much just city. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Burrows.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum. I'm Nick Moros, husband, dad, engineer, entrepreneur, educator, longtime resident, longtime proud resident of the city of Plymouth. I've served since 2017 as a Plymouth City Commissioner with a stint as Mayor Pro Tem and also as Mayor. And I'm running for re-election because I believe that Plymouth succeeds when we lean into the qualities that make us really special. Walkable neighborhoods, thoughtful development, fiscal responsibility, a really strong community outlook, a strong sense of community. Over the past 8 years, I've worked to strengthen these communities every day and every night. I've spent so much time. It's been some of the most fulfilling work that I've ever been part of, and I'm getting a tremendous amount of enjoyment out of it. Over these past 8 years, I've helped lead infrastructure, investment. I've helped strengthen our strategic plan, and I've done all of that through building relationships with, most importantly, the residents, but also businesses, with community leaders, with other forms of government.
Thank you, Mr. Burrows.
Thank you.
Mr. Elliott.
Hi, my name is Joe Elliott. I am a 33-year resident of the city of Plymouth. I married an old village girl, and we've been happily raising our family here ever since. I've recently retired after 39 years with General Motors, Delphi, and BWI, surviving several bankruptcies in the process. So I'm a fighter and survivor when it comes to the corporate world. I've also spent a lot of time investing my heart and soul into this community. I've been on the board of directors for Friends of the Pen since the very beginning, and I have managed all of the renovation projects there. So I've put a lot of time and effort into making the city the place where I would like to live and have others come and join me. I'm currently the chair of the Zoning Board of Appeals, and really, I just want to, I'm running because I want to continue to contribute to the city that I love. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we will now start with questions, and the first question will go to Mr. Picard. Do you support the proposed housing development on the site of the First Church of Christ property on West Ann Arbor Trail?
Well, no, but that's not a whole minute. So it's been a problem from the start. They've come back more every time, and the commission kept telling them there's really no public benefit there. And it wasn't until the commission and the mayor decided that they didn't need to follow the process anymore, and had a working session, which was really led to the fact that the residents had to band together to work against the PUD. But this was just something that could have been totally avoided. I mean, it was not going to pass. It came really close to a vote at one point, but they ended up not doing it because they didn't have a public meeting. But if the city hadn't gone, above and beyond, deviating from the written statute, we wouldn't have had to, it would have died a long time ago.
Mr. Mulhern?
Question?
Yes, please.
I take a different attitude toward that PUD. On Planning Commission, I've seen a lot of PUDs and a lot of site plans, and it's a process. And I feel like the city building department who looks at plans, the Planning Commission who looks at plans, and the planning consultant who looks at plans and evaluates these, that they're trustworthy, and they did a very difficult job in looking at that. The Planning Commission was not unanimous. It was a very contentious vote. Does a developer have the right to come in if they meet the criteria of a PUD? If the Planning Commission says so and it meets the criteria set in our ordinances and by law, they should be allowed to do a development. I listen to the public. That's great. Everybody should be listened to, but you make critical decisions based on the process, the master plan, and the law.
Okay. Mr. Silvers, same question.
Well, having been at a front row seat for that very PUD for the last 2-3 years, I'm an unequivocal no on that PUD. Main reason being is that when a developer asks you to bend the rules to get around the zoning rules that everybody else in this room has to follow, they need to give back to the public, a public benefit. And over the years, the Planning Commission kept trying to tell them, you're not bringing enough of a public benefit. And they didn't listen, and we kept telling them that. So that's where the impasse happened. And I know for that the PUD might not be on the table anymore. So
Okay, thank you.
good news.
Mrs. Sisolak?
Thank you. I was chair through the end of last year when this PUD became before the Planning Commission. The process for the PUD allows discretion so that there is a public benefit that offsets some deviation to the zoning law that the developer needs to do their project. The public benefit needs to be significant. There are some guidelines in the PUD ordinance that says things like it's preserving historic building, protecting natural land, and I did not personally see the public benefit that merited the PUD, so I would have voted no on the preliminary approval for the PUD, and I support that. I also think that the PUD process that happened shows that there are some things that we need to be conscious of, and I think we need to make sure that we are protecting ourselves. In the current master plan draft that's coming forward, I see some issues I want to bring up to the Planning Commission at the next meeting that we can protect and make sure this PUD process doesn't happen again. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Morrose, same question.
Thank you. Well, it is a moot question at the moment because the developer has pulled their proposal and that no longer is in consideration at the Planning Commission. Now, that being said, I do want to make 2 points. I don't think it is appropriate for a city commissioner or anybody at the city commission level to make or pass judgment on an incomplete process for a subboard. That is meddling. I also think that it's something where if development is thoughtful, if development is in the benefit of the public, then we should allow that process to take place to optimize, to make the most benefit possible for the public. I'm very supportive of PUDs because we've seen PUDs transform the city of Plymouth for the benefit of all the residents here and the entire community. We've seen that take place in places like the Bathy development, the Mill Street Townhomes, which was a toxic site in which remediation was supported by the state of Michigan, which led to more families here in the city of Plymouth.
Thank you. Mr. Elliott, same question.
I would also, I would side with some of my colleagues up here and say that, no, I do not support, I did not support the PUD for the Champion site. And really, it comes down to public benefit. So the public benefit needs to be recognized and durable. If the public benefit is something that's very transient, a walking trail or a poorly defined park, is that really a public benefit in the future? Mr. Moreau's mentioned a couple of the very successful PUDs, and I agree that those sites were successful because there was a public benefit. There was also the medical offices, the Macaulay Health Building. One of the PUD benefits of that was to have an emergency center or urgent care, and that was lost over time. So we need to make sure that these public benefits are really durable when we consider these PUDs so we don't lose the benefit over time.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. And Ms. Kehoe?
Much like Mr. Moreau's, I am a sitting city commissioner, and I couldn't really give my opinion. More than anything, I want to talk about the process, and it's really important as a past planning commissioner as well, is that we stick to the process and that people are aware of the process of a PUD. Most people don't know that by the time a developer first comes to a planning commission meeting, they've already met with folks at City Hall several times. And we need to be a little bit better at explaining that whole process, both the commissioners and the administration. But I very much believe in PUDs. They've produced great outcomes throughout our city. And the public good is really subjective. So it's up to the sitting planning commissioners to make a judgment call on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the second question, and we will start that with Mr. Picard. Pardon me? No, that's right, you started the first one, I'm sorry. Mr. Mulhern, we'll start with you. The senior population in our area is growing. The Plymouth Community Council on Aging provides services and activities to fill the need for more services. The township provides the facility and also funding through a government block grant that they receive. Without more funding from the city of Plymouth, the facility may have to close. What is your plan to get that funding for senior activities? And do you feel that seniors are an important member of the city of Plymouth?
No one is, least of all me, I'm on the precipice of being a senior, is against senior center and support from the city. I don't have a plan per se because I'm not a person who speaks on it who doesn't have enough of the detail, and I don't yet. I don't understand the funding mechanism enough or completely the issues. I don't understand exactly how we partner with the township. So I'm not going to stand up here and give you a plan that I'm making up in my head. I would, however, say that it's really critical as our population ages, that we're providing services to the seniors and that the seniors in the city are being heard and that we're appropriately funding what they need along with all the rest of the things that we need to fund. So I'll give my last 10 seconds to Commissioner Silvers.
Thanks, Jack. Mr. Silvers, the same question.
Well, all I know is that Plymouth is the type of community where you want to be able to age in place. You can grow up through your life. And for a lot of seniors, they have to leave the communities that they've lived their whole lives in. And by keeping them in the community, it just creates a much better environment for everybody. So, I mean, whatever we can do to help make sure that there's funding for this, I'm all for it. So that's what I would do.
Okay, Mrs. Sisolak.
Hi, I do support aging population. Yeah, I've been to the senior center. It's a wonderful place. I also believe that we could help support them without a lot of funds that we should be able to find in our budget. One of the reasons I think it's imperative that we support, the primary reason is that we need to provide services for our seniors and have the things that we all want to have as we get older. But I also think it's a great opportunity to start to work with Plymouth Township. Plymouth and Plymouth Township have a lot of, we're in the center, they're around us. We should be working with them on parks and recreation, on senior services. I think it's just a great start of a place to go and say, let's start, it's a one issue we can start talking to them with and hopefully build more bridges so we can start working more and more with the township. That's one of the things that I really want to do if I am elected by you wonderful people to be on the commission. Thank you.
Mr. Burrows?
Thank you. So I just want to be clear that the Plymouth Council on Aging is a 501c3. It's a private organization, and they are housed in the township right now. I understand that they are struggling. I've worked with them many years, particularly when I was mayor. I enjoyed going to their events, meeting with a bunch of their members and such, and supporting their events. I do think that there is, and they have an interesting history. They were originally founded as part of the city of Plymouth. I would welcome them back to the city of Plymouth. If they're struggling because they cannot find space that is available or affordable to them in the township, come back to the city of Plymouth. I think that's a wonderful thing to do. I'm also very proud of all the services that we do provide seniors. However, I think that we should do a lot more. Right now, we have been talking for the past, I think it's part of our strategic plan to actually do an assessment of senior services. We've worked with the Senior Alliance. We provided funding for the vans for senior services and such, but we can do more, and I think we should do more.
Thank you. Mr. Elliott?
Thank you. The main thing here is that budgeting is all about priorities, and we need to place more priority on the senior population. And I am fully in support of additional funding going to the PCCA. I have personally benefited from some of the services that they provide. When my mother was aging and having difficulties, we used their equipment closet to get walkers and shower seats and wheelchairs and all types of things that we needed, and it's free of charge and open to anyone. So they're offering services to people who need help in addition to offering activities and opportunities for seniors to get together and have more enrichment in their lives. So I think it's important, and I would be looking for ways to prioritize funding in our budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kehoe, I'm sorry.
We absolutely should be working in partnership with the Senior Council on Aging. As referenced before, it is a 501c3. We can't actually just give them funds that aren't earmarked to partnership for a particular thing. We don't give other 501c3s money in that way. So what we've done, what we're really looking to is to enter into a partnership. And we have had really successful partnerships with other nonprofits. And if you look at Plymouth Pollinators and now the Old Village Association, and we love partnerships. This is a way that we can kind of like double our impact. So we're looking at ways to make this impact. Again, look at all of the funding, all of the, look at our recreation department. We have a lot for seniors. Thank you.
And Mr. Picard?
So when I was 14, a paperboy, I had a route that was mainly a senior mobile home park. And when I went around to collect the money every Friday, at the time I thought, oh my gosh, these people are talking forever. It was a bunch of elderly people who would spend 15, 20 minutes talking to a 14-year-old boy. And it didn't take me until later in life when I realized they were just lonely. And one of the things that the PCCA does is it provides an area that people have lost their spouse, people who are just getting out in age, get together. And it really, when you talk to Bobby, reducing loneliness is her biggest goal. The township provides the building for free, so there's no benefit to move back to the city. The township gives half of their federal grant to the PCCA, and all they've asked is that the city do the same. And I think we should.
Thank you. Okay, and Mr. Silvers, you will start this round. Are you concerned with the rising cost of housing within the city? If so, how would you address this issue? And if not, why aren't you concerned?
Well, like everyone in this room, I'm very concerned with rising prices. And as a small business owner, I full well know who's also in the architecture trades, how much it's already affecting my business. When I was on the planning commission, we tried to address the rising cost of houses by introducing a floor area ratio ordinance, which would reduce the monster housing of Plymouth and try and keep entry-level homes at least in the ballpark for people. I often joke about I couldn't afford to buy my own house right now. So, I mean, from one perspective, that's a good problem, but on the other hand, it prevents people from coming into Plymouth who could greatly benefit our community.
Okay. Mrs. Sisalik.
Yes, I have 3 grown sons who are on their own, out of the house, gainfully employed, successful college graduates who I think would not be able to afford to live in Plymouth, and that's a sad thing for me. It is a very difficult situation to address. The Planning Commission is struggling with that even now. They're talking about doing things like a compatibility zone. When we did a engagement session for the draft master plan, we talked about housing types and housing stock. Housing types are having different types of housing in your community: single-family homes, townhomes, stacked flats. One of the things I think is the best way that we can keep affordable housing in the community is to try to keep the houses that we have that are affordable still affordable, and maybe try to keep the compatibility so that the tear downs don't happen building the expensive homes. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Morose.
Thank you. Well, as the only candidate, I think that purchased a house in Plymouth in this millennia, I feel this acutely. I think that it's something that is challenging to discuss because it's something we're proud of. Property values increasing in the city of Plymouth means that we're investing, we're doing well here, and it's a place that people want to be. When property values go up, it's because people want to be here, and that is important. And that's because of the decisions that we've made as a community. I'm very proud of all of that. But I do know that Plymouth is going to succeed if it is a place where you can buy your first home, your next home, and your last home in the city. Diversity of housing is very important. I think the way to approach that is to help thoughtful developments happen that address the issue, to encourage smaller homes through minimizing the lot size requirements, through things like modernizing our zoning, allowing them to be built in a way that meets the character of the community, strengthens our community, and is consistent with our goals as a community.
Mr. Elliott, same question.
Same question. I believe that the housing is unaffordable for new people moving into the community. When my first home was here in Plymouth in 1992, I was a recent college graduate with an engineering degree. When my son graduated with his engineering degree and went to look for a home, he bought in Livonia because the housing stock in Plymouth was simply out of reach. And he's making far more than I did when I was a recent graduate, but the home prices have exceeded the salary increases over time. And that's just part of the problem. The other piece is that the taxes, I know our tax rate is low with respect to other communities, but with our housing prices being so high, the tax bill is very high for residents of the city, especially new people moving in who don't have the benefit of the Headley rollback. So it is a problem, and I think the answer is to find a way to slow down the tear downs, maintain the small housing stock that we have, and make sure that people know that they can't be torn down so it keeps the prices of those homes low. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mrs. Kehoe.
I would love to see my kids be able to buy a house. and come back in Plymouth, to Plymouth one day. I think the way that we achieve this is to really think about ways within our ordinances to limit housing size and make sure that we do have maybe a compatibility ordinance where a huge house can't be built next to a 800 square foot house, to increase the kinds of housing types that we have, promote smaller homes, duplexes, and more affordable housing by having smaller lots as well. Thank you.
Mr. Picard.
Well, nobody yet has said we're a 2.2 square mile town or city, so I'm surprised I get to be the first one to say that. There really isn't, I mean, we're landlocked, so we can't really, if we're talking about new housing, you know, there's very little space we can do that. Really, the only thing we can do to keep the home prices low is the square or the ratio for the floor plan that the Planning Commission has been talking about. Just to limit the size of the new houses that can go in. You can't put a huge house in a neighborhood that has 800 square foot houses. So other than that, I mean, I haven't heard any other, that's really the only thing we have a chance, so. Yep.
And Mr. Mulhern.
Thanks. So I brought home massing to the neighborhood, to my commission way back when, so I'll take credit or blame for that. And it eventually, got some really good thought and time. And so I credit the planning commissioners, a couple of them who are my colleagues up there, who are sitting up here right now. It's a really tough deal. I talked about desirability in my intro, and people want to move here, and it's such a desirable community. So we're all benefiting from that and paying for that with the increase of home sizes. The reality of putting ordinances through that would limit home sizes was difficult then, and it's difficult now because you run into property rights and things like that, and we all believe in rights, and so it's really complicated. We want diversity of homes, and that's all I'll say, because I'm out of time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, our next question, we will start with Mrs. Sisolak. And the question is, in recent years, there have been several events such as the Pride event in Old Village and the menorah lighting. Are you in favor of these and possibly more events that make the city more welcoming to a diverse group? If so, state some of your reasons.
I'm absolutely in support of those. I volunteered last year at the very first Pride event in Old Village, and I worked there this year from setup till tear down in 100-degree weather, and it was a wonderful event. I think the world is smaller and smaller all the time, and having a diverse point of view and different things to consider, look at how just even the different restaurants, we have Mexican, we have Middle Eastern, we have Italian in the city, what that brings to us culturally. I think having different events just enriches all of us, and I would support all of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Morose, same question.
Yes, I'm proud to support them. I'm proud to have supported them in their development and used whatever relationships I could in the community to ensure that they were successes. I have been part of the Know Our Neighbor community or committee that was started with the library back in 2017 to bring a variety of different events in different communities, sort of a welcoming environment to the city of Plymouth to educate others and such. I think this is one of the most important things that we can do. We know that Plymouth, and Ms. Picard just said, is 2.2 square miles, but our reach is much further than that. Every Friday night, the Music in the Air concerts welcome people from around the community. We have thousands of people that come here. Plymouth will succeed when Plymouth is welcoming. That is when we're at our best. And I think the more that we can do that, the better that will be.
Thank you. Mr. Elliott, same question.
I am 100% in favor of bringing more events like Pride and the menorah lighting and whatever other cultural events are considering coming to Plymouth. We should be welcoming them. It adds so much to our community to bring in different perspectives, different cultures, different viewpoints and just different people. We are small community, and the crowd here tonight is very homogeneous, and we all benefit when we have some diversity in our community, and I'm 100% in favor of expanding some of that. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Kehoe.
Absolutely. I'm in favor of both Pride, and I was actually the organizer of the menorah lighting downtown, and I was thrilled to see how many people showed up for that. I was thrilled to see people who I didn't know, people from outside of the community who came into Plymouth for that. And one thing I'd like to throw out to everyone is that any of these events can be organized by any of you. So anyone who wants to bring something like Pride or the menorah lighting, is it your religion, is it whatever it is. And the more that we understand about each other, the more we accept about each other. And I think that we are a welcoming community. And I 100% support all of that and really encourage people to bring it to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Picard, same question.
It's funny, Ms. Kehoe mentioned that because I used to love the old Christmas carols sing downtown, and I think we missed that at least 1 or 2 years and thought, maybe I should do that myself. And then same with Mr. Elliott. If any event, any time, any day of the week, any event we have, somebody asked last time 2 years ago, are we diverse enough? Okay, I think that's the wrong question. It's are we welcome? Do people feel safe to come here? Do people want to come to Plymouth? That's what we should be concentrating on, not looking at if we're attracting the right percentage of the right groups.
Thank you. Mr. Mulhern, same question.
Thank you. I'm in huge support of these activities. I'm not only in support of these activities, I'm really proud of our community and having these activities. And I'm proud of Jen Kehoe for doing the menorah. You're welcome. And to give credit where credit is due, Commissioner Alana McGuire, who's not here tonight, and she's also a candidate, has led out on LGBTQ issues sitting on the city commission for as long as she's been up there. So she should be credited for some of these things that are happening. And I'd also give credit to the folks in the Old Village Association for hosting most of these things. So I think it's great, and I think we can extend it, and I think we should extend it, and I think us people who are mature in this room remember back when we weren't so welcoming as a generation, and I think we could learn from a younger generation who is bringing more tolerance to us and to the world. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Silvers, same question.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, Plymouth is perfect for fielding these types of events, and the Pride event, and that's a new event. And the word gets out that Plymouth is a place to go to have fun at these types of events. I'm talking with Old Village about bringing back an event I saw in Minneapolis called Porch Fest, where Plymouth has a lot of porches. Each porch has a band. They could be a horn band, a string band, whatever band, and you have your little flyer and you just mill around, go from porch to porch and sample things. So it's a walkable community. We should have festivals. It's great for it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next question is almost in the same vein. There are several events that take over downtown Plymouth for the better part, sometimes of 4 or more days each time. Do you believe this is beneficial to our community, and do you think it should be spaced enough so you're not having them like 3 or 4 in a month and really tying up some of the streets for a specific amount of time, such as 4 days? And we start with Mr. Morrows.
Thank you. Yes, I do believe that we've taken a very strategic approach to this, and these events, Art in the Park, Fall Fest, being the 2 anchors in the warm season, are the main ones that we actually shut the streets down for. I think all the events that we have in the city have been absolutely wonderful and only added to the fabric that makes Plymouth so special. Whenever I'm walking around any of these events, it's always smiles. It's wonderful to be at. It's constantly meeting people that say, wow, this is what Plymouth has to offer. So yes, I'm very much in support of these, and I think the The disruption they might cause has been minimized based on our approach to limiting the number of days that they take place, but also the different approaches that we take to keeping them safe, keeping them welcoming, and staffing them correctly so that if you might notice, after a big event, it looks like it never was there the day after, and Plymouth is back to wonderful farmers markets and having a good time.
Thank you. Mr. Elliott, same question.
It's a complicated question because everyone loves the festivals, but they come with some downsides for some of the businesses. There's winners and losers when you shut all the streets down, and clearly the restaurants benefit for having all the people around. But when all the booths for art in the park are facing the street and blocking the businesses, it does hurt some of our retail. So we really have to take a look at are we really benefiting all of the community equally? Because it seems that there is a bit of a disparity there. And then also, I would like to understand a little bit better. Art in the Park, for instance, is a private event. It's an individual that hosts that and takes over the downtown. And I just would like to make sure that the city is being adequately compensated for the municipal services and police and the support that we provide. So it's, I support the festivals, but we need to take a close look at them. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kehoe, same question.
So the first time I was ever in Plymouth was for Ice Fest, before I even met my husband. And I walked around and I was like, what is this crazy storybook town? And 6 months later, I met my husband and fell even more in love with Plymouth. And I think that that's an example of sometimes what these festivals do for our community. It brings awareness to our city. It brings people back to say, oh, there's these stores that I want to go back to and restaurants that I want to go back to. I agree that there are some complications, and I think that generally the people who put on the festivals try to work with the stores to not block their entryways and to be a little bit more flexible. And we need to really look and make sure that we're not damaging stores and restaurants. But I am in favor of them.
Mr. Picard, same question.
I think both Mr. Moroz and Mr. Elliott had a point. The people who come to festivals love them. But there are actually, when you talk to some of the residents, there are people who say, every week, this is just a lot. We don't have the quiet time that we would like. So you really need to do a balancing act there. And as the city officials, in business, we go by the 80-20 rule. And, if 80% of the people are for it, that's something we should work toward. But I think, yes, it's getting to be up to the point where we may want to start looking, at least make sure that we're compensated correctly. And that I think we're reaching the limit on that. Thanks.
Okay, Mr. Mulhern, same question.
Yeah, I concur with my friend Joe, and with some of the other things that have been said. I love that the Metro Detroit community puts some sunshine on us when they report on the festivals every year, and you can't replace that. It's irreplaceable marketing, and it makes us look like the great town we are. They do seem to be getting bigger and bigger, and I don't have a quick fix for that. I would like to make sure that we're hearing enough from the downtown or the DDA, all the store owners, not DDA and on the outskirts, about how it's affecting their businesses. My wife works at Haven. Go shop at Haven and ask for Jean. And I'm just thinking about Ann Arborites, too, who've said for years about the art fair in Ann Arbor, and those not selling parking spots, would just dream of being beamed out of Ann Arbor for a weekend, or maybe VRBOing their home or something like that. It's really, really hard on the people who live there, and so I think it's worth discussing.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Silvers, same question.
Yeah, I've heard from business owners, mostly restaurateurs, about how during, let's say, the art festival, their business drops because their storefronts essentially shielded from, and people stay away because they know it's going to be busy. I would suggest putting on my architect's cap again, taking all the tents from lining the sidewalk, put them in the middle of the street, and then you freed up the sidewalks on each side, and people can either look at the art or walk by their favorite restaurants. So there's solutions you can do to mitigate the crowding the business owners and have your cake and eat it too.
Okay, thank you. Ms.
Hi.
Bisalek.
Thanks. This is a difficult question. I think it's a balancing act, and one of the things that concerns me, and when I mentioned in our first question, talking about ourselves, is the sense of community. I talk to a lot of residents. I walk around town. There's a feeling that the city is doing a lot for the downtown, and the residents are kind of an afterthought. And I'll give you an example. We just spent $250,000 for barricades for the downtown to protect the people that come here from getting run over by a car and things. Meanwhile, our parks have boarded up slides and things that the residents use. I think we need to really communicate to the city as a whole and make sure, how are the businesses reacting to these things? How are the residents reacting to these things? How are the restaurants reacting to these things? And really look at this holistically and make sure that we're balancing, as Joe said, budget priorities to what the community wants.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and next question, we'll start with Mr. Elliott. If Plymouth had input into the mass transit plan, what would you suggest?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the,
If Plymouth had
okay.
input into the mass transit plan, what would you suggest?
I think I would suggest that, first of all, we talk to the community and find out what the citizens of Plymouth want out of mass transit. I know that in the Metro Detroit area, mass transit has been primarily buses for the longest time, and buses are seen as unreliable. And so the first question is, what are we going to see from this new mass transit solution that is going to make people comfortable and confident that there's going to be a reliable system that we can depend on? If workers are using it to get to and from Detroit to Plymouth to work or to go to games or whatever in downtown Detroit, it has to be reliable, and there has to be convenient stops, and those would be the things that I would want to focus on. Where are the stops going to be, and how are you going to guarantee that it's a reliable system for our residents?
Okay. Ms. Kehoe.
I definitely think that we need to have a conversation with the residents of the city about what people want, but we also want a seat at the table in this conversation with the larger metro area. We want to make sure that if there is a big transit to come through here, it comes within a mile or so of our downtown, and then we can do that last mile ourselves. So if it is a tram or a light rail or something, that we can partake in that. We don't necessarily have to drive our cars even to that, into that spot. So I think it's super important that we make sure that we have a seat at that table and be part of that conversation.
Mr. Picard, same question.
I assume this is a question about the smart tax, which the state legislature has removed our ability to opt out of the smart bus system. So next year on the ballot, we will have a millage. Yay, hey. It'll be about the same as our park millage, which we turned down. And this time we will be asked to fund a system, and we don't have a seat at the table. That's an issue. There are communities in North Oakland and North Macomb County that have been paying into the system for decades, and they don't have a bus that goes anywhere near their town. So I think that's an unfortunate thing that it's been thrust upon us. I think next year, when we vote on the millage, we need to look at it closely. If we don't have a seat at the table, we'll probably be working against that millage next year. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Mulhern, same question.
Yeah, I think I look at it really as, I don't look at it, sky's not falling. I think I always try to look at it as an opportunity. And so where there's a will, there's a way. And I think that this is an opportunity for us to get a seat at the table. I sat at a meeting where a couple of our state reps spoke, and they were talking about potential solutions and potential ways to get our voice heard as City of Plymouth. around this plan. I like what Jennifer said about last mile. I also think it's an opportunity too, if we did have the ability to have our voices heard, to try and see if we can get the focus on how this would support seniors, as we were just talking about that. So that's my thought.
Thank you. Mr. Silvers, same question.
Yeah, this is, whatever happens is going to be a long way off. When you think about the Detroit metro area, just the city of Detroit alone, you could fit Boston, San Francisco, and Manhattan Island all within its borders. And then you amplify that by the surrounding millions of people. It's a huge undertaking to establish public transportation in a city that has entirely given itself over to automobiles. So whatever we do, if we get a seat at the table or get to put our 2 cents in, we should, but this issue is not going to be solved overnight, and it's going to take a lot of planning.
Okay. Ms. Sisolak.
I guess if I had a magic wand and could say, what would I like to see happen? I was at a city commission meeting when our city manager said that the block grant we give to the community center and aging is used for transportation, and the numbers of people using that bus has dropped. So I'd be interested in why. But if I had my magic wand, I'd wonder if maybe they could give us our share of that money and we apply that to our senior busing. And then the money we're spending on the block grant for the senior busing, we can give to the center of aging for helping out, keeping that center going. But I don't even know if that's an option.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Morrows, same question.
Thank you. I think public transit is a very interesting topic. It can be a critical component to the quality of life improvement in a place like the city of Plymouth. But this is a millage that the most important thing as representative for the city of Plymouth, we need to ensure that we get the value out of what the value comes out of the city of Plymouth. If it's going to be a millage that pulls out 1.4 mils, we better get 1.4 mils plus in terms of value, because Plymouth is special. We can execute on plans that Wayne County wants to see happen. But this is all about relationships ultimately. I think what's really important is that Wayne County ultimately trusts, if this does pass, that the city of Plymouth can execute public transit that is going to make their millage look successful and be successful. Now, I'm very fortunate that I get to leverage what I work on at U of M in public transportation. I get to see some of these services actually implemented around the world, and that is part of the trust that I've been working with in terms of building relationships at Wayne County, and that's what I plan to utilize in terms of making sure that if this does pass, that it brings value to the city of Plymouth.
Thank you. Mr. Elliott, same question. No, I'm sorry, you started it. Do you have anything to add? No? Okay. Question number 7 is, what are your priorities for Plymouth? And we'll start with Ms. Kehoe.
My priorities are smart growth and planning for the future for this city. Just like trees, infrastructure and homes and public buildings all have to be planned for in advance. And if we want our city to continue to be vibrant and to bring people in and make sure that people want to continue to live here, we need to really plan for that. And we can't stagnate. We have to be forward thinkers. And some of that happens with our master plan to make sure that the blueprint that we have going forward is one that is going to continue to be attractive to people. And we also have to figure out how to do that all with less money, because things are just more expensive these days. Thanks.
Okay. Mr. Picard.
I think my view is more, it seems like it's been a long list of things where the residents don't feel like they're heard. I mentioned Kellogg Park earlier, but then we had the Penn tax status, we had the $15 outdoor dining, we had and now we just dodged the bullet with the PUD. So I hope to bring just a resident's voice to the board. We say we like input at meetings, but after the millage, we talked a lot. Actually, Karen championed having a Parks and Rec advisory board. But instead of engaging the residents with that, I appreciate Mr. Morose is talking about a program where we can have sponsorships of parks, but that was all done behind the scenes once again. You know, the city has shown through the millage failing twice that they don't listen as well as they might, and I just hope to address that.
Thank you. Mr. Mulhern, same question.
So I'll take it up 500 feet, but my priorities are really about thoughtful growth. Again, I've got planning background, so it's all about planning, and planning comes with public input and thorough commission input and input from the city administration and everybody getting together and making good decisions on the future and the current execution of our strategies and our plans. So we can be thoughtful about that, and that's at the top of my mind. Second thing is communication. In my job, one of the things I'm responsible for is kind of overhauling communication. And so that's really, really important and near and dear to me, because you guys would all be the children of a city commission who all have to be communicated to, but first listened to. Third thing is community is really important to me, and I'll talk about that at a later date. Thank you.
Mr. Silvers, same question.
Thanks. People want to feel like they're being heard. And over the last 10 years on the Planning Commission and listening to citizens come up and tell us what they're thinking of and why it matters to them is very important. And it has actually helped the Planning Commission change ordinances and try and improve things for the city of Plymouth. And that's my main thing, is to put the citizens first and listen to them, because we all live here and want what's best for Plymouth. And also protecting that certain charm that Plymouth has that we all know and love. And also, at the end of the day, running a small business, you have to do some smart budgeting and at the fundamental level.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Sisolak.
Thank you. My priority is actually, I think the city's moving in the right direction in a lot of ways, but I think we've lost a sense of community, and there's a lot of frustration. I think we can do a lot with really talking to each other and working together as a community again, and trying to build that relationship back together where the people are working with the commission and the city administration, right? Our form of government is actually, I'm very pro our form of government, where we have a city manager and a city commission, where the city manager runs the day-to-day and the city's cranking, and the city commission is supposed to set policy and represent the people. I want to make sure that the people's voice is being heard. We're being engaged not after decisions are made, but while the decisions are made. We're having that dialogue, and we're included in those decisions. And one of the metrics that I would like to see changed is, as somebody who has paid for FOIAs myself, is that we get to 0 FOIAs, because there's a lot of FOIAs being asked by the community, which is a bad sign.
Thank you. Mr. Morose, same question.
Thank you. My priorities are ultimately to continue the progress that City of Plymouth has been undertaking for the past decade, which has put us on this fantastic path where, again, you walk around and there's so many smiles everywhere. People are enjoying the city of Plymouth. We love the quality of life here. That means investing in neighborhoods, investing in infrastructure, smart development, modernizing our zoning ordinances. It means building relationships with residents, with businesses, building relationships that allow us to produce things like the Corridor Improvement Authority in Old Village, building relationships that allow us to build things like a possible connection or reconstruction connection on Wilcox Road down to Hines Drive. It means building things such as relationships that lead to development of properties such as the Bathy property that I mentioned earlier that was blighted for the longest period of time. I cringe at some of these comments that we just heard, because we have done more community engagement than we ever have, and that has led to some of these actual developments. We've continued to do a tremendous amount of community engagement, and everywhere I go, I love hearing from people, and it's because they tell us to keep up the good work.
Thank you. Mr. Elliott, the same question.
Yes, my two priorities really are again, it's infrastructure. Everyone has mentioned this one already. We need to be able to maintain and replace our aging infrastructure. And of course, that's becomes a financial burden. So we need to make sure that we've got a funding plan and priorities set so that we can replace critical infrastructure. And at the same time, we need to be cautious about adding more. The Parks millage that failed, one of the proposals was a field turf site for soccer. It's new infrastructure that requires maintenance and money. And again, it becomes a question of priorities. So I think that's important to put together that plan. And then just rebuilding trust between the city commission and the community. This champion PUD, some of the dialogue that I saw between the citizens and the city commission and the planning commission was frankly disappointing. And I would like to see some trust reestablished between the residents and some of the boards and commissions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This will be our last question for this evening. I'm going to go a little bit past 8 o'clock, if that's okay with everyone up here. All right. The last question is, what is your vision for the Parks and Recreation Department going forward? And Mr. Picard, you get that first choice.
I still think a Citizens Parks and Recreation Board would be a good starting point. Again, Mr. Morose at the last meeting has said that they've got a plan that they're working on, but as far as I can tell, that plan had no input from the community. Yes, the commission has made an attempt to communicate better, and they do. They communicate better to us, but I don't think they communicate as good with us. And I think a Parks and Recreation Board would address some of the things Mr. Morose's plan will, including sponsorships, including looking at more grants. But that's something I think we have citizens who are dying to help, citizens who would love to help. I'm not sure why that the commission just refuses to let them. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Mulhern?
One of the best things about Plymouth is our parks, full stop. We've got 16 of them, and we as a city own those parks. And just like we own buildings and roads and sidewalks, they need to be maintained, and maintenance and upkeep needs to be budgeted for. And so the devil's in the details, right? And I think it's really easy to say we should take from Peter or rob from Peter to pay Paul because parks are more important to me, but something else is more important to me. I think that's where we get together as a community and talk about this. And I appreciate the dialogue that has been had with the community. I'm not one of those throwing stones at the city commission or city administration. That's not me. I think we need to continue talking about things and discussing things, especially the parks, because it is expensive. And I'm in favor of the advisory board for the parks. I think it's a great idea, and I think an advisory board can work together with the city. Thank you.
Mr. Silvers?
Well, I'm in agreement where I think if the city had a parks board that could address the public's input for how they wish to see their parks and recreations handled. I live right across from Garden Park, so I look at it every day. And when you think about it, our city parks sprinkled all throughout the town are the crown jewels of Plymouth. And we have to make sure that they're well cared for, taken care of, because they're very important. They are the lifeblood of the community and a hub sprinkled throughout all the neighborhoods. And without those, it's just a little bit less.
Thank you. Mrs. Sisolak?
Well, considering I was the one that brought the idea of a Parks and Recreation Advisory Board to the table after the first millage failed, I continue to support it. I've provided a lot of information to the community about it and what the benefits would be, and so I think that's still the best way to go. I think the Parks and the Recreation Department are invaluable to the city. There are two different things. They're maintaining physical parks. There's also programming that are important to us, and we need them both. I think the community, through a Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, could help to prioritize and decide what it is that's most important to us and what we need to invest in because we can't afford everything. So again, it's about prioritizing, and that's where we can get together. I also believe a Parks and Recreation Advisory Board would let us bring ideas in from across the community. Our parks can be more than just a jungle gym, a pavilion, and some grass, or a soccer field. We could be a lot more creative, and there's a lot of people in the community that want to help with that, so we should have the board.
Thank you. Mr. Morose, same question.
My vision for Parks and Recreation in the city of Plymouth is that we modernize and bring everything up to the level of maintenance and the level of standards that the city of Plymouth requires that meets our quality of life. We've done multiple surveys of residents. We've done multiple needs assessments of the facilities that we have at each of the parks and at the cultural center and beyond. And we know that much of that infrastructure is aging or well past its lifespan, and we need to replace it. The parks have been supported by our Department of Municipal Services for a very long time, and the assets that you see at the parks, the benches, the playscapes and structures, have often been supplied by groups like service clubs. Those relationships are what we're leveraging today to update Kiwanis Park, to update Rotary Park, to update Lions Park with a tremendous amount of community input, such as we had just 2 Wednesdays ago, which I do not want to dismiss the people that came to that, the 40 or so people that came to that actually had their say in what was going to happen there.
Thank you. Mr. Elliott.
I think the main thing is that we need to pay closer attention to the difference between parks and recreation. We've lumped them together in one department, but they both have very specific needs. The parks, it's play structures, it's maintenance, it's pretty simple stuff. On the recreation side, we've got this cultural center, we've got hockey programs, soccer programs, and a lot of administration that goes along with that requires a lot of funding. I think that what we need to do is really collaborating with our neighboring communities, whether it's Plymouth Township, Northville Township. We are a small community, 2.2 square miles, and less than 50% of the people that are enrolled in our recreation programs come from the city. We should be leaning more heavily on our neighbors where we can provide administration, we can provide some facilities, but we need them to provide some other facilities to help us achieve our goals. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Kehoe.
Thank you. Obviously, we all want our parks to all be made whole and to be vibrant and safe for our kids. We are coming out with a park sponsorship program. The biggest hurdle that we have is funding our parks. And traditionally, a lot of that money has come from service groups. The city just matched $100,000 into the Lions Club $100,000, and we are redoing the Lions Club Park. The Rotary Park is also going to be redone the same way. 40 people from our community came out and participated in a visioning evening for Lions Park. So we are going into the community and getting feedback from people. I also see that this park sponsorship is going to have a component that's going to be a Friends of like Lions Park that will have ongoing say into each of these parks and maybe something larger where that they all contribute together. So it is a component. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we've come to the closing statements, and we'll reverse order. So, Mr. Elliott, you will start with the closing statement.
Okay. Just real quick, my career as an engineer was mostly on project management. And as in the course of doing my job, it was basically meet with customers, listen to their needs, listen to their requirements, put together a plan of action, execute that plan of action, and then communicate. And I would approach a position on the city commission in the same manner. It's really, you guys are the customer that I would need to work with, to listen to your needs, put together that plan, and then we need to work together and collaborate to come up with a solution that works for everyone and make everyone feel like they're being heard throughout the process by having open, clear, transparent dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Morose?
Thank you, everybody, again, for being here tonight with us for this important election. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for putting on this forum. Serving the City Commission has been an incredible honor, one that I'm so proud of. It's been really the most fulfilling work that I've ever participated in, and it's because It's work that has been to benefit everybody in the city of Plymouth and everybody that comes here to the city of Plymouth. From safer streets to stronger neighborhoods, we've had a smarter, more resilient, more welcoming city of Plymouth in the time that I've been able to serve as city commissioner. And I'm proud to say that I've had a hand in many of the opportunities that Plymouth has taken advantage of that have benefited the city. Much of the landscape of the city over the past 10 years has changed, and changed in a way that we look at it and say, that's fantastic. That Saxton's parking lot looks wonderful. Those mill townhomes at the Bathy site is much better than a toxic waste dump. The activities we have, the new Miracle League field, for example, in partnership with the city and Rotary, people come together in the city to invest in the city. And again, that's when we're at our best. That's what I've been able to do as a city commissioner, as mayor pro tem and mayor, and that's what I want to continue to do if I ever vote your vote. Thank you.
Mrs. Sisolak.
Thanks. You know, in my life, in my career, raising my 3 sons, which absolutely are my best work. So if you want to know something about me, you should meet my sons. They're amazing people. But I've managed large budgets that comparable to the cities. I've led teams of people. I've developed teams. I've gotten projects done. The success I had in my career, when I boil it down, it was that I was always giving really tough problems, and I found pragmatic, effective solutions within the budget that made my customers happy. And I'll bring that to the city. The questions here tonight, when you have a minute, they're all much more complicated than we are given time to talk about. The devil is in the details. I am the most detail-oriented person you will get to ever meet. So if you want to talk to me, I'll be glad to share the details and answer any of the questions you have. But thank you for your time, and thank you for having this forum.
Thank you. Mr. Silvers?
Thanks, everybody, for showing up tonight and everybody watching at home. I believe the citizens of Plymouth deserve a commissioner who's going to listen to them and put their concerns first. And that's me. I've never been afraid to get my elbows dirty, rolling up the sleeves and get in there. And as a small business owner, I know how things go, and things are difficult sometimes, and you just have to keep an open mind and listen to everybody and make the best decisions you can. So I think if you vote for me, you'll get somebody who will be for you, and I'll leave it there.
Thank you. Mr. Mulhern?
Thank you again, League of Women Voters and city staff, for hosting us tonight. You guys have heard a lot. I wish more people would have come. I honor you for coming tonight. This is democracy. And this is a dais of good people up here, and we have a quorum. So we could put forward a vote if we wanted to. No. So I'm going to be brief. So if you're looking for a commissioner who's a bomb thrower, I'm not your man. So don't vote for me. If you're looking for somebody to throw commissioners or developers or city administrators under the bus, I'm not your man. It's really easy to poke holes and to throw arrows, and I'm not the guy who's going to do that. It's not what I'm about. I'm a serious person with a great sense of humor and who gets things done. And I have a reputation of being a good neighbor, of being a fair and treating citizens and its commissioners right, and of being an honest broker. And so thank you for your trust and for your vote.
Thank you, Mr. Mulhern. Mr. Picard?
Karen and I have talked at a couple meetings where when you come up and you make comments during a meeting, it seems like you're always negative. And so it's tough to come up. If we live in a great city, nobody will doubt that. But there are things that we can do better. And I think those all revolve around the commission listening better to the residents. So that's what I hope to bring. When the millage failed the first time by 63 votes, and some people were saying, if we could only get a little bit more people. And I think I sent an email to some of the commissioners saying, I'd be aghast if it passed by 63 votes. That divides the city, by definition. When the second millage came around, man, it should have passed by 80, 90%. And if it had, that would have shown that they really took into account what the city residents wanted more than the city commission.
Thank you. Ms. Kehoe?
Thank you all so much for being here tonight and caring deeply about the future of Plymouth, as do we all. I'm really proud of the work that our commission has done together, and I'm really proud of the city of Plymouth. I don't know how much you guys all get out of our borders, but we have a spectacular city, and we need to keep it going. And as said up here, I think it's really easy to poke holes in other people's work, and it's even harder to move forward with the work that we have the vision for. And I'm so excited that the Corridor Improvement Authority is looking like it's going to happen in Old Village. Old Village is just blossoming. I'm so excited to get the Heinz Drive connection for bikes and for walkers. And there's so many awesome, amazing, positive things that we have coming down the pipeline. And that's the work that I am excited to do. So thank you all for coming out.
Thank you. I wish to thank the candidates who are running for office. They are asking for your support as they seek a job in the public service sector, which is not easy these days, as all of you know. And we hope voters will listen to their views. We also appreciate the voters in the city of Plymouth who attended the forum, as well as those watching the recording learn about their choices on Tuesday, August the 5th. Each of these candidates was also invited to participate in the League of Women Voters Voter Guide, which is a publication that you can access online by visiting vote411.org. This forum has been recorded and can be viewed on the League's website, which is lwvnorthwestwayne.org. It'll be up within 48 hours. Please note that ownership of the recording or transcript resides with the League of Women Voters of Wayne County. The candidates or their supporters may not use portions of the forum or any audio clips. Video clips or transcripts for political advertising or other purposes without the written permission of the League of Women Voters of Northwest Wayne County is prohibited. The LWV is providing this forum as an opportunity for candidates to express their views related to their candidacy. Statements expressed by the candidates are not endorsed nor opposed by the League. Also, the League does not certify any candidate's responses to questions as accurate. Voters are encouraged to fact-check information shared at the forum. Election Day is August the 5th, and the polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. If you are not registered to vote, you can do so through the Election Day at Plymouth City Clerk's office, and all registered voters can vote early by absentee ballot. If you did not receive an absentee ballot and when you would like to vote early using this method, please visit your Plymouth City Clerk before August the 4th at 4 p.m. I just want to say thank you, and it's been an honor listening to all of your answers to our questions. I hope you all, continue in whatever endeavor ends up after August the 5th and then in November. But your citizens are fortunate to have people such as yourself who seem to be really concerned about it. So thank you.
Thank you.